Hi everyone, this is Intuitive Edge. Welcome to my channel. This is where we take an intuitive look at what's going on in our world. So I want to take a look at what's coming up for the month of August. We're going to do our month ahead spread. And so I'm going to get the cards out and we'll get started. So I've broken this spread into a couple different segments. We have the political, the socioeconomic, the environmental, and then kind of the past, future, and then overall outcome. Now this is for the greater United States, kind of what's going on in the field around us. So the first segment is the political. So what can we expect to be happening in August around politics in general? The first card out for this is the Eight of Cups. This is a card about needing to move on from something after a loss, needing to deal in reality, accept what's happened and move on. It's challenged because it came in reversed. So there's going to be some difficulty for people moving on from something that they need to move on from. And that's going to present a problem. This is a difficult, like a grieving process that you don't want to give up and move on for your own health's sake. So there's some hanging on to things that are already in the past that we need to move on from. Crossing this is a reversed Seven of Cups. Now, the Seven of Cups is a card of like too much going on, overwhelm. When it's reversed, and in the context of it on top of this Eight of Cups, it brings in an element of being detached from reality. So we have this unwillingness to move on and accept something that is, and this kind of unhinged coming in that's complicating things even more. It's compounding that difficulty that one is having from moving on from something. So in the realm of politics and with what's been happening in the United States with everything, all things Mueller, with that being, I think, the thing that needs to be moved on, everybody needs to just move on, and there's a segment that is going to be holding out, but it's detached from reality. So it's having trouble and difficulty moving on because it's not grounded in reality of what the situation really is. And that's complicating that further. And if that was not bad enough, that picture I painted, the next segment is socioeconomic. And this card has the Death card reversed, crossed by the Devil card. Now, the way I translate this, the Death card is a card about beginnings and endings, transition, moving from one life-changing situation into something new. It's a card of transition, okay? With it reversed, it can be a difficult transition, difficulty letting go, a hard time moving into a new phase, letting go of the past, reclaiming what needs to be reborn and rebirthed, okay? And that's crossed by the Devil card, which is complicating that notion. The Devil card brings to our awareness our bad habits, our old patterns, ways of thinking that are no longer useful for moving forward. It can symbolize addictions, things that keep us bound and held down. And that energy is over the Death card that is also about transformation and wanting to show us how to transform out of a negative path, a negative pattern. So basically what I see from this is that society in general is going to have a hard time letting go, and that of what I explained about the political realm. It's complicated, but it feels like there is something that is keeping that stuck energy, keeping us in this pattern of spinning our wheels and not letting go and moving forward and moving on to a better path, a brighter future, moving on to what is best. And it keeps us like, we're like reliving a loop, keeping us stuck in this muller or whatever, just keeping that going and keeping it in our heads and in our thoughts and in our awareness. It's something is keeping that stuck, that energy stuck. And what needs to happen is that needs to just come off, and we can see clearly in reality, not the detached reality, but grounded in reality, so we can move forward and move on. And that's, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's happening. But let's see what the rest of this month holds for the month of August. The next segment I wanted to look at was environmental. This includes the earth, the weather, earth changes, anything like that. We have the King of Swords, and it's crossed by the Knight of Wands reversed. Now, King of Swords, I get generally a good feeling with this card. And when I first turned it over, the first thing I thought of with relation to the earth and weather patterns is hot. So August may be a hot month, may feel very warm geographically in various areas across the U.S. May see heat waves. That's nothing new. It is August, but that's just what I get from that. I don't sense a lot of change, weather related or earth related, until possibly into September, but August feels to be stuck in like this heat wave possibly. And with that Knight on there, it's kind of like that's also kind of a stuck feeling, that Knight reverse, kind of that draws down a little bit. So I think we might get stuck in a holding pattern as far as the earth and weather. So on the next question of what's leaving in this month of August, we have the Medicine Wheel, the Wheel of Fortune, the card of fate and destiny. Now this card is coming on the heels of, with it being a past, meaning we've been in this place of fulfillment of destiny, something big, something that came up that could not be stopped. It's like the wheels that turn and keep going. And so we've been in this place of things happening, things coming out in the open, things becoming revealed. And now we're in this place of that is the energy leaving. So it feels like the energy that came to shake things up, I think that's what July was. July kind of shook things up, brought things up to the surface. And that energy of that medicine wheel this is your destiny. This is like what we have to do and have to look at and have to go through. That energy is now going to be pulling back. So what's going to be coming up this month? What's going to be front and center, forefront with us? The future is the Four of Cups. This is a card of and I see this with this imagery, there's still more to come. There's lots of stuff coming up in the news, in politics, in the whole thing. There's a lot coming up, and there's almost like a difficulty or a refusal to want to respond appropriately or to see what's coming. This is kind of like the #resist card. It's like there's stuff coming at you, and it's like you just don't want to look. You just don't want to go there. And it's not quite like the Two of Swords, which is all about being in denial. This is like, I just can't look. I don't want to go there. That's interesting. That would be on the future of what's coming up, because it feels like with the energy of this and the imagery, with all this stuff coming at this person here, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up to be dealt with, to be looked at, and it doesn't feel all bad, but there feels like there's some resistance or some difficulty receiving it. I do get big change coming. And I do think some people will have, and I think people in the news will be have stuff come at them that's going to be unwelcome or unwanted. Now, what's interesting is on the heels of this, with the overall card, the overall outcome, we have the Judgment card reversed. This is the Judgment card. And this is about facing the consequences of your actions, or having a personal reckoning, like meeting a day of reckoning within yourself. So I think some people that are having this, you know, as I look at this bottom row, this medicine wheel, that came with this energy of this is the destiny, things have been put in motion that are hard to stop. And then all of that energy coming into this card with somebody resisting what's coming, but then having that Judgment card on the other side of it. It's like, I feel like there's this wave of justice or wave of energy coming in that is putting things right, or making things that were upside down and turning them upright, and things that were right upside down, and change coming through. And it may feel overwhelming to some, and it has to do with personal judgment and values, and bringing things into balance and putting things right. Underneath this entire reading is the Five of Swords. This card came in reversed. This is a card of a battle being over, taking the spoils of a battle. And with the Five of Swords reversed, it can be a battle that is over, but someone's not wanting it to be over, or having difficulty losing a battle, not wanting to have lost a battle. And that seems to kind of be flavoring this whole thing from the beginning with the Seven of Cups and the Eight of Cups. This challenge and difficulty in letting go over something that has been a loss. And that Death card of transformation crossed with the Devil card that has been holding that energy down and not allowing that expression to be able to embrace the new and move through the transition. And then we've got this medicine wheel that's been like, this is part of a destiny thing. Things set in motion, fate. It's like a truck going down a hill without brakes. You can't stop it, okay? It's just going to come through. And that resistance, but also leading into judgment of some kind. So this month could be very volatile. It depends on the people involved and how they perceive this energy. The best thing to do is to accept what has happened in life and to move with where life is going, knowing that sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. When we lose, it's much easier to just flow with the change and move into something better and trust and know that things will be better. But I'm getting a lot of challenges and resistance to change and fighting against destiny and fate, to the point of it having to be in the form of this Judgment card that comes in and says, look, this is the final hour. You got to wake up. So lots of volatile energy for the month of August. I think I'm going to leave that here. There's a lot to digest with this reading, but just know that we may be seeing in the news things playing out with people in the news that are probably going to have difficulty accepting change and moving with change, and they're going to be butting heads with it instead, which is never fun. Not a good idea, because it makes life harder, but some people learn the hard way. All right, that's all for this reading. I appreciate you stopping by my channel. If you'd like to leave a like, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.